I filmed this video a couple hours ago, right after the game, but I wanted to saturate in my feeling. I did some work, watched some of the U.S. Open, and I'm back to giving it my honest reflection because sometimes, a couple hours after a match, your mood changes, for better or for worse. Yeah, I'm still pretty insistent on the same things that I was saying before. So, Manchester United, match week number 2 against Fulham, a 1-1 tie, and you guys deserve a match review. This one will be a little bit shorter with a couple other, I think, pressing topics that relate back to this match later in the video. I actually think United in the first half played really, really well. In terms of just linking up play from back to front, United looked like they kept control, and there's a fine line between fluidity and structure type of football. And when you look at some of the best teams, look no further than Pep Guardiola and kind of his Manchester City team, and last season, Liverpool, Chelsea at times last season. And also, when Manchester United played Brentford, United lost the game 4-3, but there were just a couple instances last year where, Brentford, they would look as if they're playing off the cuff, but their players also knew exactly what they were doing and exactly where they were going. So while it looked so, like unprecedented, every single Brentford player knew what was going on. And I think that's a really, really, really hard thing to accomplish consistently in football. And I'm not saying it was to the extent of a Manchester City, what Manchester United were doing in that first half, but it was pretty good. It was enough for me to be filled with a lot of positives going into the half. Now, we can talk about the Bruno Fernandes penalty miss, but it really has no point. It's not a penalty on Mason Mount. He kind of felt contact and went straight to the ground, as most players do nowadays, but it doesn't really matter because we're approximately 4 hours after the match, and I think I just heard word that Fernandez's penalty has finally landed. Just absolutely skied it. And barring that, I think United actually played a pretty good first half of football. I think when Fulham attempted to apply pressure, it wasn't really there. United was able to play through it. I think there were a couple instances when United were able to press high when Fulham was taking a goal kick from Bernd Leno. And so at half, I was thinking to myself, this is awesome, but we need to score. It's the number one thing plaguing United for however many years now. You play a good half of football, you create good chances. Cunha has a good chance. You just can't score. So I need to see that goal. And so in the second half, when Lenny Yoro scored an odd goal, to say the least, being an own goal by Rodrigo Muniz, Yoro's header just deflects off the back of Muniz, rolls in, whatever. All goals count the same. I wanted to see how United would respond. And of course, this was a 70th, 71st minute, I think. The Croydon De Bruyne, Emil Smith-Rowe comes onto the pitch, first touch, boom, just bangs a shot, score tied 1-1. And from that point on, you could have given United 100 more minutes, and I think we all knew what was going to happen. It was going to end in a 1-1 draw, at best. And this leads perfectly into my big problems with this Manchester United squad. Number one, the most pressing in my eyes. Why? Please, somebody explain to me why we are deciding to play Bruno Fernandes as a number 6. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Fernandes, since he's come into the Premier League, has been an exceptional number 10. And he's carried United through some of its darkest moments. And I think throughout pretty much every single game, he's the only consistent shining light for that team. Last season, he saved us on so many different occasions. He scored some massive goals. But he's just not a number 6. And part of that is on Bruno. He's not the most well-rounded player. While he can create an exceptional chance, he's prone to giving the ball away. He makes risky passes, and while a lot of the times they work out and create goal-scoring opportunities, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they send the other team on the counter. And this is stuff you've already probably heard before, but ultimately I think it's well worth the risk. If Fernandes is creating 10 chances but giving up 1, I think it's worth it. And I think you ask Marcus Rashford, I think you ask Anthony Martial, a number of United players who have seen Bruno Fernandes play and played with Fernandes, I think have benefited greatly from just the chance creating ability that he possesses. Phenomenal number 10. But anytime he feels pressure from the back, he's so easy to give it away. He's not necessarily great on the half turn. His long range passing ability is good, but I don't think it's exceptional enough to completely rid of every other quality in this game. Fernandez is an instant chance creator. Whether that's an outside the box shot, inside the box shot, just the calmness and composure he possesses, is top notch. You don't even have to look back super far. Look back at this exact fixture 2 years ago at Craven Cottage, Manchester United. I believe the score is 0-0. Fernandez gets the ball on the edge of the box, right towards one of the last minutes of the game. He keeps his calm, fakes a shot, gets by a defender, and just like that, rips a shot right by Bernardo, I believe, and United win the game 1-0. It's just that type of coolness is so needed in these types of games where this is where you take a lot of the stock from. It's not necessarily against Arsenal when you can get up for a big game. It's against the Fulhams. It's against the Brightons, the Crystal Palaces. These are the teams that shape your season. And to see United drop 3 points is just a massive blow. And I think to myself, if we had Bruno Fernandes playing in the right spot, that should be a pretty easy win. Fulham didn't look super strong defensively. They were beatable. They certainly, posed the odd chance on the counterattack, but by all means, United did a decent job of neutralizing them. Same thing against Arsenal. But it doesn't matter when you have a dual knife in the attack. And that's not a knock on Cunha or Mbumo or Benjamin Sesko, because all those players are still working themselves into United. And I think that is maybe an underrated thing that we've kind of gone by is we've thought, it's great. We're bringing in 3 of Europe's most prized talents. It's going to be great. And while I think they all will be good, they're all 3 adjusting to Manchester United. Obviously, Cunha and Mbumo have played in Premier League before, but it is still a different level to play for Manchester United. The pressure for playing for Manchester United. Same with Benjamin Sesko. He's done really good things at Leipzig, but is still not only adjusting to the league, but to the pressure of Man United. And it's something I've been saying since my first video months ago on the Europa League final loss to Spurs. It just makes no sense on why we're playing Bruno Fernandes at his weaker position. Why are we restricting all of his great abilities? It's almost like you play Erling Haaland as like a center back. You're just like, okay, like he's tall, I guess. It really does confuse me, and I wish I could speak with Ruben and just kind of pick his mind on that question and try to get, his thought on it, because I'm no A-level, pro licensed coach here, and I can still see what we're doing with Fernandes is kind of killing his prime and kind of killing United's chance creation. Now, the second point here. What did Kobbie Mainoo do? Genuinely, this isn't even a joke. Did Kobbie Mainoo say something? I can't even ring a million possibilities onto why Kobbie Mainoo has not played a single minute of Premier League football for Manchester United this season. I have played the same exact amount of time as Kobbie Mainoo has. And newsflash, guys, I don't play for Man United. He's just, I could go on for minutes talking about the class that Kobbie Mainoo oozes, and I might just do it. But the bottom line is he creates big game moments. He creates big game goals, big game assists. He picks up the ball in tight areas, scores beautiful goals. When he's in the midfield, despite getting compressed and attacked a lot, he always finds a way to get the ball out, whether it's through a neat pass, a good dribble, he draws a foul. You rarely see Mainoo lose the ball when being, kind of compressed by midfield. And is he the perfect player? No. But guys, he's 20 years old. 20 years old, and he's playing like he's at least 28, 27, 26. Just you can tell the mental composure by him is top-notch. This might be a little bit of outlandish here, but I think if United were to sell him, he should go for no less than 100 million. No less than 100 million. 115, 120 is what I would push for, but you'd be a fool to not negotiate at least 100 million for a player of that ilk. And it boggles my mind. And in my last take, guys, I was a lot more animated than I am right now, but I'm still getting pretty upset the fact that I'm looking in the 88th minute and I'm seeing Ruben Amorim, giving all these instructions, and then in the background you just see Mane doing this. What are we doing? Like, what is the point of having this quality of player kind of on your team if you're not going to use them? And this brings me back to Bruno Fernandes, because apparently now Indy Kali, I know they've had a little bit of a resurrection in terms of their transfer legitimacy. I don't know, legitimacy. There we go. But they reported that Al Ittihad has submitted an offer for Bruno Fernandes. I think 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100 million. I don't know. Whatever, dollars, yen, whatever, pesos, however you want to calculate it. A lot of money. A decent amount of money. A profit for Manchester United from the original sale from Sporting. Just take it. Just absolutely take it. We're killing Bruno Fernandes' prime, as I mentioned. He needs to be in a place where he can have free reign to play the football that he excels at, which is counter-attacking football. And this isn't necessarily, that's not a knock on Fernandes, and this also isn't a knock on Ruben Amorim. As a matter of fact, I am so pleased that we're shifting ourselves away from this narrative that United have to win games on the counterattack, that we have to be some counterattacking team. Guys, you cannot be a truly title-contending competitive team playing counterattacking football in the way in which United, the aura of which Man United brings. You just can't do it anymore. You have to have technical players on the ball, because the Brightons, the Palaces, the Fulhams of the world, they will outclass you nearly every single time. And while in the big games, the counterattacking football will work, we saw in the big games last year under Amorim, I think he only lost one. That was against Arsenal in one of his first matches. He beat City, tied Liverpool, beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. Spurs. We lost to Spurs, unsurprisingly, three times that whole entire season. But largely, Amorim did a good job of managing these big games. But it doesn't matter, because you only play those games, 10 times a year? What about the other 28 games? And today knocks it down to 27. And we saw a massive failure today. So if United want to stray away from this counterattacking football, which I think is good, for one, you need to sell Bruno Fernandes, who is not a metronome kind of player. And for two, you need to either A, sell Kobbie Mainoo for large amounts of money, or B, figure out where to play Mainoo. I mean, it makes no sense to me that a manager of Ruben Amorim's supposed quality cannot find out where to play Mainoo. And I get it. He's good as a 6, he's good as an 8, he's good as a 10. He even showed somewhat promise as a false 9. He's a great player all over the pitch. Don't let that ruin his career, Ruben. Get him out on the pitch when he plays, and he's, you saw it from his debut against Everton back in the 23-24 season. He takes games over, and it's so frustrating because at times when it's 1-1 and United need a late goal, a player like Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield instead of a Manuel Ugarte, it just completely changes the fortune of the game. If Bruno Fernandes pushed up in one of the 10 possessions, it changes the fortune of the game. And I think Amorim actually did a decent job of timing his substitutions well. I think he brought on Sesko at a good point. It's more who he brought on that I had a problem with. I was even upset in the fact that he brought on Harry Maguire and Aiden Heaven towards the very end, because that to me just screamed, we're just going for a set-piece goal. Fair enough. 85th minute at Craven Cottage, we need a win. I'm fine throwing Harry Maguire on there. He sure enough has a good enough goal-scoring record, to prove that he's worth it, that he's worth the substitution. But the fact that we're still throwing in Manuel Ugarte, it's just not there. I think he's a really good destroyer. He did actually a couple really good touches on the outside of the, or on the inside, on the outside of Manchester United's box to kind of disrupt a couple Fulham attacks. Those were awesome. Those were good. But I still get flashbacks to the amount of times I've seen Ugarte just launch a ball all the way into row whatever of whatever stadium he's playing at. He doesn't take good enough care of the football. And day by day, PSG looks smarter and smarter for selling him to United. And day by day, Manchester United just look a little bit worse. And that's not really supposed to be a massive dump on Ugarte, because there's a lot more I can say. But it's just, it would be more acceptable if we didn't have any money, if we didn't have any players to go on and replace those guys. But We have Bruno Fernandes, and we're sticking him as a 6. We have Kobbie Mainoo, one of the world's most promising talents. That's not an outlandish accusation, guys. He is a player who should be starting for England. He is a player who should be starting for Manchester United. He will walk into a majority of top flight leagues, of top flight teams in the world, and he's sitting there, just twiddling his thumbs. What happened? So we either need to sell him or play him. This sitting on the bench, letting his value decrease, it's not good. It's not like he's a part of like the bomb squad or whatever the heck they call it, the excluded 5, the forgotten 5, whatever it is. It's not like he's a part of that. What I heard, he's doing good things in training. He's muscled up. He's doing good. It's just Amorim just has some points that he will stick on that does not let Mainoo play, and for life of me, I can't figure out what it is. Now, before I get out of here, guys, one last point. I'll try and make this one quick. Manchester United are linked to Royal Antwerp goalkeeper. Something Lemons, I don't know. We're linked to a new goalkeeper. I do not care if the guy has the shot-stopping ability of Peter Schmeichel, a hint of Manuel Neuer, the reflexes of Iker Casillas. It could not matter less to me. Can he go out there and claim a cross? Can he claim a corner? Can he claim a set piece? The amount of times I mentioned it last video, David De Gea 2021 against Arsenal gets stepped on by Fred, hits the deck, and since then, United goalkeepers, whether it's De Gea, Bayindir, Onana, whoever it may be, have this refusal or have just this narrative pushed on them that they are weak in terms of corners and in terms of stopping these plays. And they're right. Every time we see Onana get pushed, a goal-scoring chance is created. We saw it Bayindir so many times today. I mean, they're just Fulham on corner kicks, putting the ball way in the back post, and then you're looking over at Bayindir, and the man is literally on the floor. There is literally a chance where the ball, it floats over to the back. It gets headed back into the middle. Joachim Andersen has a wide open shot. Matthias de Ligt makes a game-saving near goal line interception, and Bayindir's crumpled up on the floor. This is the type of stuff that prevents Manchester United from getting back to being a serious team. It really is. So I need Lemons, or whatever his name is, the Antwerp goalkeeper, to be a good, just bruiser when going up for these things. He has to be. You look at David Raya. I don't think David Raya is a world-class goalkeeper, but he's one of the best in the Prem. You can win a Premier League with David Raya. And you want to know why? In Arsenal's defense, the backline, Saliba, Gabriel, we've heard enough plaudits about how great they are, and they are exceptional. But when they get in trouble, a cross comes into the box, their team is building pressure, they have a corner. Who is there to stop it nearly every single time? David Raya. I think Altay Bayindir has done a very good job in 2 out of 3 important phases of football. He's a pretty good shot stopper. He's improved significantly in his long-range passing. I mean, I didn't know he had that bag with him. Just that darting ball, 15 minutes in tonight over the top to Matheus Cunha. It was exceptional. That all gets nulled. It all gets nulled when, he's just so flimsy on corners. And it's just, like I said, it's just this belief. It's just whatever around the United goaltender possession that they are weak, they are flimsy. You put your tallest guy on him and he will cause him trouble. And I noticed this a lot towards the end. Not necessarily this, that point with the goalkeeper in general, but this kind of, this larger point, a lot towards the end of Erik ten Hag. United are in a place where they're looking for fouls. They're looking for fouls in the box. They're looking for fouls for penalties, which every team does, but they're looking for fouls kind of going for them, going in their favor. One of the best examples or quickest examples I can think of was under Ten Hag when he played Liverpool last year. I think Casemiro got lightly pushed off the ball, and he was expecting a foul to be called. They didn't, and Liverpool go down and score. There is this genuine belief, I think, among this United team that every single call is going to go their way. Every single, everything has to go their way. I mentioned it with their build-up last video, and I think it to be true for this part. Every single, we have to be bailed out by at least one refereeing call every single match. Guys, that's just not how it works. They should know that. I'm sure they do know that, but there's just this feeling around Old Trafford, or feeling around wherever United go, that something has to go their way in terms of build up. Something has to go their way in the middle of the game. You score a goal. Well, actually, Saliba was barging into me, so it's going to get caught off. Don't worry. And then it doesn't. Without Matthias de Ligt, I think Fulham go up 2-1 today. Without Matthias de Ligt, who, don't even start on de Ligt. I don't think he's a fantastic player. But I think it's a stronger Man United team than we saw last season and possibly the season before, but they're still very soft mentally. Soft mentality, and I don't necessarily mean in terms of getting tackles or anything like that. I think we just rely on the miscellaneous to go our way. We do. And it just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't cut it, But in all honesty, I'm taking more positive. It's going to sound weird when I say this because I know I've just given a 20-minute rant on why United need to make changes. I'm probably taking more changes from this, positives from this than I am from the Arsenal game. I really am, because I think that build-up wise, United looked decent, especially in the first half. But if you don't change Manu, if you don't play Manu, you don't change Fernandes, you keep Bayandiro, Nana in goal, you're going to give up goals. You're just going to. And I'd be okay. It'd be more acceptable if you're giving up goals if you're scoring a 3 game. There were times under Ole Gunnar when teams would score 2 or 3 times, but United would get that 4th. They would always constantly, you go at United, they'll pop you right back every single time, or for at least a majority of times, kind of under Ole. That doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist with this team. And Ruben Amorim has a tall task, but guys, oh my goodness, this next week is so important for him. Until the transfer window closes, he needs to be on full go. I need to see Jim Radcliffe. I need to see them fundraising outside of Old Trafford. I need to see them starting up GoFundMes. I will literally Venmo them what little money I have to help push for Baleba, push for Lamens, push for whoever United can go after. There has to be a mass fundraising thing with this club. It has to happen because this team, United fans, we think that it can't get that low. And I maybe even said it earlier in this episode. We're gonna do better than last season. I don't know. And I maybe I'm pushing the alarm bells a little bit here, but it is hard to really see a route where this United team are getting European contention as it stands right now. We have 1 week to fix it. Most important week of Amorim's tenure as Manchester United manager. One of the most important weeks for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who I think has largely turned the narrative into his favor, with the signings that he's made. And, the overall decent transfer windows I think he's had under him. I hope Joshua Zirkzee is going to be back soon. I think Lisandro Martinez is a crucial piece to how Ruben Amorim wants to play. I think he's supposed to be back soon. There are still players to come, but we can't rely on the future anymore, and Ruben knows that. There better have been, tables flipped or fights started in that Fulham locker room today, because that wasn't good enough, and everyone in there should know it is. And I'm ready to go. I haven't been able to look at any social media or anything like that. I gave you all my unfiltered, uninfluenced opinion. It was all under my own. I want to look at Twitter and see that, they're outraged, they're upset, that, they know things have to be better. And this is, I promise, probably going to be my last point. Against Arsenal, I saw a tweet from, I think, a pretty well-respected Manchester United source saying that, they felt a positive direction after the Arsenal game. I dang near punched someone. Against Arsenal, you thought we played good? We didn't. And you can watch my video. I urge you to go watch my video about that. We played a lot better today than we did against Arsenal. I really, really, really do mean that. Go and watch those highlights. We showed good sequences. But at the end of the day, guys, it's still not good enough. It's still not good enough. And things have to change. Maybe United go and they land Baleba tonight. I know I'm just throwing up prayers at this point, but maybe something happens. But something has to happen. But I'll talk to you all soon. If I post a match review against Grimsby, things either went really well or really poorly. Maybe there'll be a match review out between Liverpool and Newcastle from tomorrow's match, but we'll see. But I'll talk to you all soon, and stay safe out there. God bless.